Welcome those of you who just watched Nebraska and Michigan from the Big Ten on FS1. Fox College Football is sponsored by the all-new, totally remixed Volkswagen Jetta. We have got a wonderful afternoon for college football. We thought there was a chance of a little bit of rain, but that's come and gone. Temperatures in the mid-40s. Cloudy skies here in Waco, Texas for year number 2 of the Matt Rhule rule. Matt Rhule just 1-11 a year ago, but off to a 2-1 start this year. After a distinguished 4 years in Philadelphia with the Temple Owls, good things are starting to happen for the Baylor Bears under Matt Rhule.
A lot of parallels here for Baylor so far this year with what Matt Rhule dealt with at Temple. Took them from a 2-9 football team all the way to being 10-4 and 10-3 and conference champs in the AAC, and they expect more of the same here down in Waco.
Kansas won the toss. They deferred the decision to the second half, so Baylor will start with the football. Baylor Bears won their first 2 games. Abilene Christian, Texas San Antonio lost a week ago here on this field against the Duke Blue Devils.
A little energy in here, huh, Eric?
Oh, yeah. Let's do it. McLean Stadium alive. And the kick sails through the back of the end zone. It'll be a touchback to begin our game. Ball will be spotted at the 25-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Baylor University Bears.
Yeah, as this Baylor offense takes the field, one thing to keep in mind, we're going to see 2 quarterbacks today. It's going to start with Charlie Brewer, co-Big 12 freshman of the year last year, did really well towards the end of last season. You kind of expect him to be the guy going into this season, but then enter Jalen McClendon in the offseason, the grad transfer from NC State, who has earned his way onto the field as well. So Charlie Brewer will take the start, and we'll see Jalen McClendon at times as the day goes on.
Brewer, the sophomore, takes the shotgun snap. His first pass is complete. Jalen Hurd. We'll talk about Hurd a lot this afternoon. Nominal gain on 1st down.
Well, we mentioned Jalen Hurd in the open. He's without question one of their best playmakers, but we're also going to see Denzel Mims today at 1,000 yards a year ago, and also John Levitt. So Michael Hasey's going to miss the first half, so John Levitt will be their primary ball carrier, and on defense for the Kansas Jayhawks, Joe Deneen Jr. leads the FBS in tackles.
40 tackles through 3 games. Designed quarterback keeper, and Brewer rumbles across the 35. He's got the game's first down.
And one of the things you're going to see here with this Baylor offense, they like to spread you out. They have really good receivers. They want to take advantage of matchups, but they also love to run the football. That's Matt Rhule's staple, so look for him to establish a run here early on.
Quick hitter. Pass is complete, but nowhere to go. Chris Platt, maybe the fastest man on this Baylor team, was stopped in his tracks.
Baylor offense going with some tempo, and one thing Matt Rhule wants to keep in mind when he goes with tempo, he wants to use it smartly over the course of the game. He doesn't want to wear out that idea, because at times he feels like he can wear out his defense. He'd like to give his defense about 70 snaps a game, so he wants to use tempo the right way in this football game.
It's a loss of 2 on 1st down, so playing from behind the chains. Brewer, another strike, this one out to the 40-yard line. We'll bring up 3rd down and medium. That's the second catch for Jalen Hurd. He picks up 5.
Good job by Jalen Hurd getting to the spot and really just posting up. He's a big body, and we mentioned earlier he was a running back at Tennessee 2 years ago in the SEC. That's a big frame that used to play running back at 6'4". He's leaned down a little bit. Now he's a receiver. He's our leading receiver so far on the season. I've been really impressed with his route running ability given his running back history as well.
We should mention the Baylor Bears are going to play this entire first half without JaMycal Hasty, normally their #1 running back. He was suspended from a year ago after getting into a scuffle in the game against TCU. And Brewer trying to use those legs, can't quite get to the sticks. He is stopped short. Bryce Tornadin with the stop in space. That'll bring up 4th down.
Really good job by Bryce Tornadin getting out and tracking Charlie Brewer. One thing this Kansas defense has yet to see this year is a mobile quarterback. They've done really good on defense, especially against the pass, but they've yet to see a guy that's crafty like Charlie Brewer and regularly gets outside the pocket to make plays. Really good job by Bryce Tornadin there and track him down.
So it's a 4th down and 2, and after thinking about going for it on 4th down, Matt Rhule decides to bring the punt team on. And he's got a weapon in the punting game. Coming on to punt the ball away is the Big 12's leader in yards per punt. It's Drew Galitz. And his first punt is a bomb inside the 10. Fair catch is called for and made at the 6. So the Kansas Jayhawks have the football when we come back here to Waco, Texas. 14 remaining first quarter, just getting started. Kansas Jayhawks, their first opportunity with the football. They're led by a senior quarterback, Peyton Bender. We're expecting two quarterbacks to get playing time for the Jayhawks, just like the Baylor Bears. We'll also see Miles Kendrick at some point. But right now it's Bender in the backfield, Puka Williams next to him, and this is Williams. And Williams gets out across the 10. Good gain on first down. Let's talk about Peyton Bender, the senior from Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Yeah, Peyton Bender, formerly a quarterback for the Washington State Cougars, spent some time at community college and now here the starter at Kansas, and had some issues with accuracy at times this year, but the best trait he's had is no interceptions in 72 attempts. He's held on to the ball really well, given his running game a chance to get going, and taken advantage of turnovers that his defense has produced for him.
Talk about that running game getting going. It's got going in large part because of Puka Williams. He is a true freshman out of New Orleans. And if you're not familiar with him yet, you will be soon. This guy is a star in the making. Quick hitter, pass is complete. Stephon Robinson. And he's out close to first down yards. Let's talk about who we should watch for when Kansas has the football.
Yeah, Eric, you said it. Puka Williams, a true freshman, is special. He leads the Big 12 in rushing. He missed game 1, so in 2 games he leads the Big 12. Also, Steven Sims Jr., their #1 receiver, really need to get him going today and get that passing game some rhythm. And on the Baylor defensive line, James Lynch. Baylor really wants to establish a pass rush with their front four, and James Lynch gives them the best chance to do that.
Only 4 sacks on the year for Baylor, but 2 of them by James Lynch. After the first down, this play is blown up in the backfield. No chance at all for Puka Williams to get started. Jordan Williams and others come in on the stop. Bravion Roy also with the tackle.
Well, if you're Matt Rhule, that's a really good start for Bravion Roy. He says Bravion might be the team's most talented player when he brings everything he has. So the key is no plays off. You bring that kind of effort every play, and you're going to help blow up this Kansas run game that's had a lot of success so far this year.
Kansas coming off a big win over Rutgers a week ago. 55-14 the final score. Loss of 3, 2nd and 13. Williams again caught behind the line of scrimmage and brought down. Oh, the Bears playing good defense to begin this one.
Eric, one of the things I thought we'd see today is this Baylor defense load the box a little bit. You see those 4 linebackers. They're bringing for Kedrick Vaughns down into the box to support the run and playing a single high safety. Eventually, that's going to force Peyton Bender to have to throw the football consistently, something this Kansas offense has not done all that well over the course of the season. And if I'm Baylor, it makes sense. Stop the run, because this offense has had a ton of success with the run.
Khalil Herbert comes in the backfield next to Bender. It's 3rd down and 16.
Let's draw here with Puka Williams. If he gets loose, he can go.
Bender's pass is almost picked off. Oh, that would have been disastrous. Instead, it's an incompletion, 4th down.
Would have been a huge opportunity. The true freshman, J.T. Woods, steps in front of the football. It's right there for him. And sometimes as a defensive player, those things get on you a lot quicker than you ever thought they would. You might not expect it to be right in your grill like that. And that would have been 6. What a way that would have been to start this Baylor defense, a team that hasn't produced nearly as many turnovers as they'd like to.
So after an initial first down for Kansas, they go backwards and they'll have to punt the football away. Kyle Thompson, his kick, short, fair caught. And a little dust up, but no damage done. A punt of 37 yards, no return, and great starting field position for Baylor. Both sides have had a crack with the football. When we come back, it's Baylor's chance once again. Baylor Bears back on offense, looking to get that ground game going. Still scoreless, Kansas and Baylor. Baylor's playing the first half without JaMychal Hasty. Hasty is suspended for the first half. It's a Big 12 specific suspension. He got into a scuffle tail end of last year's game against TCU, and this being the first conference game next year, he's sitting out this first half. Little misdirection, end around, looking for speed. This is Platt. Chris Platt, world-class sprinter, is inside the 30. Finally stopped by Hassan defense, but a good way to begin the drive for the Bears.
Chris Platt, without question, one of their premier playmakers on the Baylor offense. Big-time speed. And they talked all week how they got to try to find a way to get him the football more consistently. This time with the end around, had the Kansas defense completely fooled. If he finds the edge with his kind of speed, it's big yards.
Inside run, John Lovett. And Lovett is stoned. Maybe a gain of a yard. Tornado with the stop. It'll bring up second down.
Eric, you spend any time talking to Matt Rhule, the Baylor head coach, you'll find out really quick how badly he wants to get the running game going. They've been a little bit inconsistent this year offensively running the ball. And so today, John Lovett's going to be the premier back in the first half. Kind of a one cut and go, kind of really downhill type runner. They really need to get him going because Matt Rhule knows if they can establish a line of scrimmage, they're going to win a lot of football games that way. 4
receivers in the game. As Baylor now facing a second down and 19. Brewer again with tons of time. Looks to the end zone. Caught! It's a touchdown! It's Platt! How did Chris Platt get that open in the back of the end zone?
Well, Chris, it was actually a really good job by the Kansas defense in keeping Charlie Brewer in the pocket. It looked like he was going to try to take off. The Kansas defense dropped 8 and rushed 3. They were able to keep him in the pocket, but the threat of the run brought the corner up just enough to create an opening behind him. And so once again, as good as they did, as well as they did on that play, they're afraid of his ability to move around and improvise, and that's what ultimately caused that touchdown.
On that drive, Baylor had 2 penalties against them, and both times the very next play they got a big chunk play to capitalize. It's an early 7-0 lead for Baylor. Not bad. Second drive of the game for the Baylor Bears. They cash in with a touchdown, ends with a strike. Charlie Brewer to Chris Platt.
Yeah, you'll see Charlie Brewer presents the threat of a run when he doesn't find his first option. The linebacker does a really good job of keeping him in the pocket. You'll see right there, he's forced to hold up, but the corner's got his eyes in the backfield. The true freshman Corian Harris makes his first critical mistake in this game and allows the ball to sail right over his head for 6 points to Chris Platt.
Puka Williams is going to take it at the 2. Full head of steam. Finds a crease, gets out to the 19-yard line. Greg, thank you so much. That's just amazing. That stat just jumps off the screen, how Nick Saban dominates games against his former assistants over the years.
5 national titles in 10 years, man.
Yeah, he dominates everyone.
That's the standard.
Peyton Bender going deep, and it's incomplete. He was looking deep for Steven Sims. Nobody home.
Love the idea by offensive coordinator Doug Meacham. I think they have to loosen up the box on the Baylor side. The Baylor's obviously committed to the run on that first drive, did a really good job stopping Puka Williams, and the only way to get them to back off a little bit and go more 2 deep safeties is to take some shots. There's your offensive coordinator right there for Kansas, Doug Meacham. Like the idea to take some shots. You've got to give Peyton Bender a chance to push the football down the field.
Khalil Herbert in the game at the tailback spot, replacing Puka Williams, and it's a little pump pass. Kurt Johnson. And that's read beautifully by Baylor. There is a flag down, short gain on second down.
They're going to get a hold there on the perimeter on the Kansas offense.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 49. 15-yard penalty added to the end of the run and an automatic first down.
Chad Kelly with the infraction.
I stand corrected. Hard to see exactly when that happened.
They called it on 49. It could have been on number 9, Ira Lewis.
Might have had the misidentification there on the number.
Well, it's a first down. Big chunk of real estate gifted to Peyton Bender and the Jayhawks. Fake to Herbert. Bender. His pass is caught. Bobbled and caught. Stephon Robinson. Oh, a little bit of serendipity. There is a flag way back in the backfield, but this more than likely is going to go against Baylor. It's a big gain for Kansas.
Great focus by Stephon Robinson on that play with that ball popping in the air to, well, we'll see what the call is here.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 38. Late hit to the quarterback. 15-yard penalty added to the end of the play. First down.
Back-to-back personal fouls by Baylor. That one's on Jordan Williams.
And Kansas fortunate to get this play down the field. Really, this is kind of an errant throw by Peyton Bender. It ends up behind the receiver, almost gets picked off. Bumped up in the air, and great focus by Stephon Robinson. Concentration to bring that ball in.
Oh, no doubt about that. Jordan Williams too aggressive, particularly in this day and age. That means 30 yards of personal foul yardage tacked on this drive alone. Bender wants to throw. Looking deep, incomplete, in the direction of Jeremiah Booker.
Pass intended for Jeremiah Booker.
Booker, the biggest of the receivers, 6'2", 212. He's one of the captains.
Look, and, you know, I don't want to harp on this too much over the course of the day, but you got a big receiver there, Jeremiah Booker, who's 6'2", has a step on his man, has position on him. You got to give him a chance to make a play. That's one thing Doug Meacham was a little bit frustrated with this week as he's bringing Peyton Bender along, is just accuracy down the field. Those are anticipation throws, those deep balls, trying to put it where you think the guy's going to be, but you got to give him a chance to make a play there.
Diamond formation for Kansas. Puka Williams met in the hole. Maybe for the first time all season long, teams are starting a game plan for Puka Williams.
Probably the right thing to do. They really, I think, a number of guys at the running back position. You mentioned it earlier. Khalil Herbert, Dom Williams, Deron Thompson. Those guys will all get carries. And three of them, Puka, Khalil, and Deron Thompson, all had 50-yard or more touchdown runs last week. So they got guys beyond just Puka Williams that can make plays. Might even see two of them in the backfield at one time as well.
Herbert replaces Williams. Third down at 13. Baylor shows blitz. Here they come. Down goes Bender. James Lynch, the man you were talking about a moment ago. His third sack of the season.
This Baylor defense only has 4 sacks on the season going into this game, but they knew if they were going to get their pass rush going, it was going to be James Lynch, a guy that can play both defensive end and defensive tackle. He is a high motor. He is all over the place. And he just beats the tackle inside, makes a big play on Peyton Bender. Impressive outing so far by this Baylor defensive line. Against the run as well. You got to remember, their best run stopper is Tyrone Hunt. He's not even playing today. They've done a really good job establishing the line of scrimmage up front.
48-yard field goal attempt. Gabriel Rhule, born in Argentina, raised in Oklahoma. Kick was low and wide right. Probably had enough distance, but the accuracy, a work in progress. So, Kansas still the goose egg next to their name. We played halfway through our first quarter, 7-0, Baylor. There he is with the defensive coordinator, Phil Snow.
There's some fire. That's what they love about this guy, too, and that's exactly what made him successful at Temple. It's what makes him so endearing to his players, too. He brings intensity, but knows how to embrace them at the right time. Gotta love Matt Rhule.
Inside run, love it. They fake some misdirection with Jalen Hurd going behind the play. Short gain of 2. Now, if you're not familiar with Matt Rhule and his background, he's on the younger side, just 43 years of age. As a player, he was one of Joe Paterno's favorites. He was a walk-on with the Penn State Nittany Lions back in the early 90s, turned himself into an academic All-American. And if you know anything about college football, you know that Penn State is linebacker U. And Matt Rhule very proud to play linebacker at State College. Denzel Mims, he's got himself a first down, ball close to the 50-yard line, a pickup of 13.
Well, there it is again with Charlie Brewer. This Kansas pass defense going into today was allowing under 150 yards a game. Number 1 in the Big 12, but again, they had yet to see a mobile quarterback of this caliber, Charlie Brewer. And we're already seeing the challenges they're having of keeping him contained.
Give again to Lovett, trying to tenderize that defense, and he spins across the 50. 7 hard-earned first down yards for Lovett.
Tenderize, I like that. That's good.
Well, we've had some good meat down here.
There you go.
In Waco, Texas. They're feeding us real well.
It's all about imagery, right? Like, we're trying to tell you what they're trying to do to the defense. They're trying to tenderize them, man. That, like, totally crystallizes it for me.
Closing in on the 1-minute mark of our first quarter. Again, Lovett. He's short of the line to gain. Bryce Tornaden, we've called his name quite a bit in the first quarter. He's credited with that tackle.
Yeah, this guy's without question one of my favorite players on the field, Bryce Tornado. They ask him to do so many things on defense. He's technically their nickel, so he's kind of taking that nickel Sam position where he ends up in the box sometimes. Sometimes he's over man-to-man in the slot. They'll bring him in pressure. He's a legit run stopper and will stick his head in there. He's a really good football player and is a big asset for this Kansas defense.
Big jumbo lineup right now for Baylor. They bring in an extra fullback. Jalen Hurd has the football. Hurd's first carry, and he's got the first down and then some.
And that right there is exactly what Matt Rhule wants to see more of at Baylor. If you watch Xavier Newman, they pull him around. It's basically power, and they pull him around. He inserts up in the hole. He's the one that becomes the lead blocker. You watch 55 on the right side of your screen. He pulls around. Look at him blow up Joe Deneen and create some running space for Jalen Hurd. That's what he wants to see from his offensive line. Good physical play, good pad level, good hand placement. Good job there by Xavier Newman.
And that'll be the final play of our first quarter. So far, so good for the locals. The Baylor Bears with a touchdown pass, Charlie Brewer to Chris Platt. They lead the Kansas Jayhawks 7-0 in the Big 12 opener for both teams. When we come back, quarter number 2 right here on FS1. "15 minutes in the books, and so far so good for Baylor."
Yeah, we talked about the Baylor offensive line and some of the rebuilding going on. Sam Tecklenburg, the center, is a former tight end. Josh Malin started the season at left tackle, and now Jake Frumorgan steps in, the transfer from Clemson. But the strength of this offensive line is the right side with the right guard Blake Blackmar and the right tackle Patrick Lawrence. These guys have been through over 50 starts collectively together. They're a big part of what this offensive line is trying to do.
First down and 10, play action. Charlie Brewer steps up in the pocket, wants a bunch. In the end zone, it is juggled. Touchdown, Tyquan Thornton. He juggled it, but was able to corral it in time and stay in bounds. That's the way you begin a quarter.
Eric, the best part about this play is the play design. Watch him run the deep over route. Now, on the other side, you can't see the tight end runs a really good route to pull down the corner just long enough to create a throwing lane for Charlie Brewer.
Connor Martin. The holder is the punter, Drew Galitz. Ooh, high snap. No worries. Galitz gets it down. Martin kicks it through. So a 14-0 lead for Baylor. And a late substitution on the return team for Kansas. Puka Williams. Maybe he couldn't find his helmet, but he is late to get on the field. Now we're ready to go. Into the end zone. And that'll be a touchback. Ball will be spotted at the 25. Dom Williams in at the tailback spot. Quick pitch and catch. Sims. And he spun out of bounds at the 45-yard line. That'll be just shy of the first down marker. Derek Thomas with the tackle. Puka Williams, in case you're wondering, his given name is Anthony, but he goes by Puka. And he's a true freshman out of New Orleans. Didn't play week 1, but has put up monster numbers in the 2 previous games.
Like right here with Dom Williams, he's another guy that can carry the ball effectively for them. So they don't want to wear any of these guys out, especially Puka being a young guy. He was in high school a year ago. So it's important not to give him too many carries early on and ride him too hard. They want to keep him fresh over the course of the year.
Puka Williams back in, replacing Dom Williams. No relation.
I like what they did a couple plays ago with Peyton Bender. Get an easy completion to Steven Sims. I'd like to see a little bit more of that the softer these corners play. Got to get Peyton some easy completions and get him comfortable.
Line to gains the 46. Bender barking out his command. Just a 2-man rush. Pass is complete underneath the Sims. But as you'd imagine, if you're dropping 9 into coverage, there's nowhere to run, and it's a 4th down.
Yeah, I think the adjustment right before kind of threw Peyton Bender off a little bit because that route combination had a couple guys sitting at the sticks. And obviously the defense is cognizant of where the offense needs to get to, so you got to throw the ball past the sticks. Defense was totally fine giving up a 2 or 3 yard reception. Not a big deal. Other options at the sticks were a little more covered up.
That's some new school football. 3rd down and 8 and 2-man pressure.
Phil Snow still isn't happy.
Kyle Thompson. Low. Grayson Arnold stays away, and the ball skips out of bounds at the 17-yard line. Baylor, touchdowns the last 2 times they've had it. They'll look for 3 in a row. A couple of wideouts off to a good start for Baylor.
Yeah, we knew this was a deep receiving core coming into this game with Jalen Hurd, Denzel Mims, and then these 2 right here, Chris Platt and Tyquan Thornton. Chris Platt and Tyquan Thornton making the big plays so far today.
1st down and 20. Brewer calls his own number. Trying to get to the edge, and he's upended. Good open field tackle by Mike Lee.
And again, college has made this very clear as far as what targeting is. There's 2 areas of it. They're very clear. They've made it as objective as they can. As we see Charlie Brewer on the scramble does a nice job getting up the field, but they've made it as clear as they can. And for me, there's no excuse of missing it, especially when it's been reviewed like that.
Now, the fact that Corian Harris is still in the game for Kansas is doubly important, knowing the fact that Ricky Thomas, one of the starters at safety, didn't even make the trip down from Lawrence. He's not with the team, so they're already thin in the defensive backfield. That pass is low. It skips in front of the intended receiver, Josh Fleeks. It'll bring up 3rd down. Yeah, Tyrone Miller, number 22. He is a starter a year ago. He is the starter this afternoon. His first start of the season, replacing Ricky Thomas, who is not with the team.
We've seen a number of different guys in the Baylor offense get involved in the passing game, too. We haven't seen Jalen Hurd in a little while. But from Chris Platt, Denzel Mims, Josh Fleeks, Tyquan Thornton, these guys are all getting a chance to make some plays down the field.
That last incompletion by Brewer was his first. 3rd down, throws a dart. It's caught by Platt, and he's got the 1st down. That's how you dig yourself out of a hole. Deneen the tackle, but a gain of 8.
Platt's done a really nice job today. We saw the end around earlier in the game, but they definitely want to get him the football. He has 10 career touchdowns, and 5 of them are at least 70 yards going into this game. Game-breaking speed. He's a track guy. He's an All-American in track. Boy, can he fly.
When you say a track guy here at Baylor, that actually carries some weight. Quarter miler U here at Baylor University. Ebner, tough to bring down, crosses midfield. Gain of 6 on 1st down for the sophomore from Henderson, Texas. Still no Jalen Hurd. Jalen Hurd has been on the sideline for Baylor for the last couple of possessions.
With as tough as that guy is and how many career carries he had in the SEC, you expect if he's not out there, there might be an issue, because he's about as tough as they come in college football.
Tougher than a $5 steak, as they say down here Texas way.
Non-tenderized, huh?
Wow, how did that pass make it through? It's Fleeks, his first catch, and he goes out of bounds after picking up a 1st down. Pinpoint accuracy for Charlie Brewer.
And here we go again, Eric. Keith Loneker comes off the edge and puts a good licking on Charlie Brewer. We might have to take a look at this one as well. You'll see right here, as soon as he lets it go.
Foul. Roughing the passer. Defense, number 47. Contact to the head. 15-yard penalty added to the end of the play. 1st down.
Contact to the head is going to tack on 15 yards. John Lovett darts through the first wave of defenders down to the 22. It'll bring up 3rd down and 6.
That was a really good job making that first guy miss. Tassan Defense. Oh, I love that last name.
Love it.
Kansas defender, defense.
Oh, okay.
You think that guy can play defense?
Closing in on the 6-minute mark of our 2nd quarter. It's been all Baylor. A couple of touchdown passes from Charlie Brewer.
One of these things these offensive linemen continue to have to get used to is how mobile Charlie Brewer is, and it's easy to get a holding call when a guy moves out of the pocket like that.
3rd down, out of the backfield, Ebner. Surrounded, swarmed, and brought down. So the decision to take the penalty.
Now you got about a 46-yarder.
Very good decision.
Yeah, I mean, I think also if you can find a way to generate even more pressure there and push him back, that's exactly what defensive coordinator Clint Bowen is thinking. You got a difficult field goal on your hands if you're Baylor.
So Connor Martin comes on. Ball will be spotted at the 35-yard line, so this will be a 45-yarder. Baylor special teams was not airtight at the loss last week against Duke. Martin's kick is good. No doubt about it. From 45 yards out, the Baylor Bears have widened their lead. They're on top 17-0. Kickoff into the end zone, and the Jayhawks take a knee. Ball will be taken to the 25-yard line after the touchback. Baylor on top of Kansas 17-0, and Kansas is going to try and switch things up a bit. They have a new quarterback in the game, Miles Kendrick, sophomore junior college transfer. This was expected. We weren't going to see nothing but Peyton Bender. We expected Kendrick at some point.
Yeah, we don't always know the cadence they're going to use these two guys. Miles Kendrick played the whole second half last week against Rutgers. He had kind of gotten the hot hand and found stride a little bit, but a little different that you'll see him be a little more mobile. They'll do some quarterback design runs with him. He'll keep it on the zone read. Presents a little bit of a different threat than Peyton Bender did when he was in.
Kendrick, quick pitch and catch out in space. Quan Hampton is swarmed. Positive game, but only 2. Second down and 8. Kendrick is from Morgan Hill, California. Last year played collegiately at College of San Mateo, and then enrolled early back in January in Kansas, and has been with the program for the last 9 months.
You know, he's one of a number of first-year guys, not even true freshmen, not counting those guys, but transfers and JC guys that have come in and made an impact this year for the Jayhawks.
Kendrick showing off a nice arm. His spiral is dropped. He was looking in the direction of Evan Ferris.
Evan Ferris had a step on the defender. Underthrew it just a little bit by Miles Kendrick. Tries to float it out there for his receiver. Ultimately actually had a chance to make a play on the ball as he comes back. Very catchable. That's a drop. Now, Steven Sims and Kurt Johnson have led this receiving core so far this year. You see Stephon Robinson make some plays, and there's Evan Ferris with a chance down the field. But as those guys continue to develop, it's only going to help this offense as they run the ball as well as they do at times. Not today, because they're really struggling to soften up the defense.
Kendrick makes the first man miss, can't make the second miss. J.T. Woods. He just pulled his ears back and went straight for the quarterback. It's a loss of 11.
Really well designed by defensive coordinator Phil Snow. J.T. Woods off the edge. And Miles Kendrick has no idea he's there. That kind of speed just take him down for a big loss for the Baylor defense, forcing the Kansas punt. Well, Phil Snow's done a nice job today. He has to be pleased, not only with the shutout, but also from a total yard standpoint. And they're getting after the passer, something they really struggled to do the first 3 games. They've done a really good job pressuring the passer today.
Low kick, returnable. This is Platt. Nope, Grayson Allen's got it. And Grayson Allen out across the 50 to the 46-yard line. Punt of 40 yards, returned 9. And he's the only quarterback we've seen so far this afternoon for Baylor. That's a bit of a surprise. Out in the flat, pass is caught by Fleeks, refuses to go down. Josh Fleeks inside the 35. This is a youngster, true freshman, who's starting to earn some playing time. A gain of 14 yards, mainly with desire.
Yeah, that time as a pass catcher, he'll play all the skill positions on the field. And when a player affords you that kind of flexibility and that kind of versatility that Josh does, they'll line him up in the backfield, they'll line him up at slot, they'll line him up outside as the #1 receiver. There he does. He moves up to number 2 at the top of your screen, or excuse me, at the top of the formation in the slot there at the top of your screen there. What a versatile guy.
Brewer steps up in the pocket, took a wallop, and throws out of bounds, looking in the direction of Platt.
Yeah, Chris Platt with his speed had a step on his defender. If Brewer just could have stood in there a little bit longer and made the play, he would have probably been able to deliver a touchdown pass. But nice job by the Kansas defensive front getting to him and forcing him to get rid of the ball quicker than he really wanted to.
Once again, this is a drive that's being played without Jalen Hurd. Hurd is on the sideline for Baylor. He's got his helmet on, but we haven't seen him this entire second quarter. Came in leading the Bears in receptions with 18. Fleeks pushed out of bounds. Good open field tackle. That was Bryce Tornadin again, just flying to the football.
Yeah, Josh Fleeks has speed. They want to get him on the perimeter, but if you're the Kansas defense, your answer to that is Bryce Tornadin. We talked about his ability to come down to the box, play the run, play sideline to sideline. He essentially becomes a really fast linebacker for you as a nickel player when you keep him in the box like they do. And again, he's very active. They ask him to do a number of different things. One of my favorite players on the field. He is a lot of fun to watch on film. He shows up time and time again as the game goes on. Good football player.
Final 2 minutes of our first half. 3rd down and 12. Just a 3-man rush. Brewer to the end zone, looking for Fleeks. Touchdown, Baylor!
Well, we've talked a lot about Josh Fleeks on this drive, and he runs the deep middle route right behind the safeties, and what a throw by Charlie Brewer. We're seeing more today of what made this guy special at the end of last year and what made people really optimistic that they had found their quarterback here in Waco. And some of the throws today, look at that throw. That is an outstanding throw, threading the needle in between coverage, in between two safeties. And a great job concentrating by Josh Fleeks and bringing in the football.
Before that drive, Josh Fleeks had never caught a pass as a college player. Now not only has caught a couple of passes, but he's got a touchdown. And there's the only fly in the ointment here in the first half for Matt Rhule, a missed extra point. 23-0, Baylor on top of Kansas. Now let's send you to Rob Stone, Dave Wanstead, Matt Leinart, and Robert Smith in our LA studios. The young Baylor Bears are starting to grow up. Welcome back, everyone. McLean Stadium here, Waco, Texas. So far, so good for the local team. The Baylor Bears all over the Kansas Jayhawks, 23-0 at the halftime break. With my partner, Evan Moore, I am Eric Collins. We expected to see two different quarterbacks play for the Baylor Bears, but Evan, we've only seen one because their starter, Charlie Brewer, has been magnificent.
Well, he's taken it and run with it, right? I mean, going into this game, we thought we'd see both of them, like you said, but he's done a great job getting out of the pocket, finding guys downfield, and we talked about, hey, he loves to improvise and extend plays with the intent to throw the football downfield, and he's done a really nice job with that. You see here, great throw to Thornton. Time player so far today. And he's kind of grabbed onto that quarterback position and held onto it nicely and not allowed Jalen McClendon to get any snaps.
Take a look at our game summary, and of note, there is a big zero, not only in the scoring column for the Kansas Jayhawks, but also in terms of rushing yardage. 30 minutes of play for the Kansas Jayhawks, and they gained no headway on the ground.
Yeah, it really is surprising. I mean, we got to give credit to the Baylor defense, but this Kansas offense, or really this Kansas football team, was being carried by its running game and its defense, and neither has played all that well here today, and they puts them in a tough spot, down 23-0 going into the second half.
Puka Williams, like he shot out of a cannon. Oh, Puka Williams down the right sideline. What kind of speed do you have? He's caught at the 5, but a huge run for the true freshman. Jamison Houston saved a touchdown, but it's a rip of 72.
And this is the elite speed that we were talking about in the pregame as far as what Puka Williams is capable of. Eludes the first passer. Now watch the blocking down the field by Evan Fairs. This is what I was really impressed with. Now he's not able to hold on to it long enough for him to get to the end zone, but he had the presence of mind to find his guy and become a blocker down the field. If he can hang on for just a little bit longer, he probably springs Puka for a touchdown. Nonetheless, a huge play and really doubles or more, not doubles, but already outdoes their offensive production on the entire day with one play.
Peyton Bender back in at quarterback. And some miscommunication. Looking for Kurt Johnson in the end zone. So Peyton Bender, this is not something that is customary. We've seen in previous games when the Jayhawks get into the red zone that it's Kendrick who comes into the game.
Yeah, misfired a little bit there. That's tough. I mean, he's been standing on the sideline for a few drives now. That's tough. You know, you got to put yourself in his shoes. He's been standing there for a while, and yeah, he's ready to go, but comes right in, misfires on a pass.
Bender. Incomplete. through the wickets. Steven Sims probably should have made that play. It'll bring up 3rd down and goal.
Steven Sims has been a good receiver for this team. Last year against Kansas State had 9 catches for 233 yards in one game. It's the 7th best receiving game in NCAA history. Just shows what he's capable of. Probably should have come down with that one, but I thought on that one too, Peyton Bender had a chance to keep it and run for a touchdown.
Very important play for Kansas. Trying to make this one a game again. Just 2 receivers in the game. Looking for Booker. Corner of the end zone. Got him! Touchdown! Jayhawks!
Eric, earlier in the game, in the opposite end zone, there was a play where Jeremiah Booker had position on his defender, and the ball was thrown just outside too much and ended up landing out of bounds. This is how you make the correction if you're Peyton Bender. An absolutely perfect throw. Drops it right in the bucket over the outside shoulder of Jeremiah Booker. And a really good job of Jeremiah Booker, too, of holding space from the sideline, not getting too close to the sideline and giving the quarterback a place to drop it in. So often young receivers find themselves so close to the sideline, there's nowhere for the quarterback to throw it. That time he let Peyton lead him to the corner. Really, really nice job by that receiver.
Senior captain Jeremiah Booker makes this a ball game once again. Gabriel Rhule. You betcha. 8:32 remaining, 3rd quarter. 7-play, 90-yard drive capped off. Bender to Booker. Kansas Jayhawks finally break the seal. They march 90 yards down the field, and the cap out of the touchdown, Bender to Booker.
Beautiful throw by Peyton Bender. We talk about dropping it in the bucket and putting it right where you're supposed to put it. Look, Peyton Bender started his career at Washington State under Mike Leach, was an air raid quarterback, so really, made a living throwing that football down the field, chucking it around. A little inconsistent at times this year with accuracy, but that right there was a perfect throw. And he missed one earlier in the game to Jeremiah Booker, corrected it right there. If you're Doug Meacham, you got to be really happy about him executing after coming off the sideline and standing there for a couple series.
Fair catch is called for. That is a new rule in college football. The volley spotted at the 25-yard line. Brewer calls his own number. The line to get to the 35, he gets there. Takes a hit as he crosses the 40 down to the 43-yard line. A gain of 13 yards for the sophomore quarterback.
We talked a lot about him running the pass. This time, just dials up the quarterback draw. It's well blocked. Jermichael Hasty gets just enough on Keith Lonergan to create a big running lane for Charlie Brewer down the field. And he continues his impressive play over the course of the day.
Design rollout right side. Pass is complete. Short gain to Marcus Jones. Marcus Jones earning a scholarship just a couple of weeks ago. This is a guy with elite speed, 4.3 speed, who for some reason was not on scholarship, but he is now.
Smart too, man. 3.98 GPA is in electrical/computer engineering.
Oh my goodness. Here's Hasty. Little stutter step to get past Tornaden. Look at Hasty go! Down to the 14-yard line. He gave Tornaden the old dead leg.
Well, you just referenced the speed of Marcus Jones. We know about the weapons that this Baylor offense has on the outside. And they'll try to slowly spread you out and kind of lull you to sleep. And then boom, they'll hit you with the draw right there. Just gashing them through the middle of the defense. Bryce Tornaden, tough to make that play in the open field against a back like Jermichael Hasty.
Hasty, another carry for him, and he barrels down to the 12-yard line. Hasty, after not playing in the first half, is in a hurry to make up for lost time.
Just enough of a stutter to get the sideline for Jermichael Hasty. And again, we see it a lot in college football. A lot of these spread formations, and we kind of assume, it's kind of intuitive for us to think that they're going to chuck it around. But spread's just a formation. A lot of teams love to spread you out and pound the football, and I think ultimately that's what Matt Rhule wants to continue to work toward as he builds this program.
Love it with the carry. Between the tackles, gets to the 10. It'll bring up 3rd down and short. That was a gain of 3 for the sophomore Lovett. He's come a long way to play for the Baylor Bears. He is a native of New Jersey. He was on the radar screen of Matt Rhule and his staff when they were at Temple in Philadelphia. They knew all about John Lovett. And when they decided to come down here to Waco, Texas, he followed. Jalen Hurd is going to be deep in the backfield behind Charlie Brewer. So we saw this for one play in the first half. 3rd down and 4. And Hurd nowhere to go. When you're 6'4" and someone dives at your leg, sometimes it's hard to change direction. That's a loss of a yard.
Eric, I've been really impressed with Daniel Wise, the defensive tackle from Kansas. Coaches speak really, really highly of him, and they think, you know, his production this year has been hurt a little bit by some of the scheme changes they've had from last year to this year. Some more 3-down looks where offensive linemen can double team him more regularly, but he is a force up front. He's an all Big 12 player a year ago. Describe him, hey, he's that guy. Like that guy that can disrupt things up front, he's that guy.
Connor Martin comes on. 27-yard field goal attempt. No worries. So, Kansas scores a touchdown. Baylor comes back and gets 3 back. 26-7 our score. Puka Williams on the return. He's got a seam, and a flag comes down on the return. That was a positive return for Williams out to the 30, but it made 26-7 is our score. Kansas scoring a touchdown last time they had it, and a big reason why was Puka Williams had a really slow first half, just 16 yards. But last drive, 72 yards, all coming on one scamper down the right sideline. That set up the touchdown. Peyton Bender finding Jeremiah Booker in the end zone. With Evan Moore, I'm Eric Collins. 4:55 remaining, 3rd quarter. Little trick play here. This is going to be an end around Steven Sims, who's stuffed. It's still a gain of about 7 yards, but it could have been a whole heck of a lot more, but the Bears were not fooled.
Dude, the misdirection had them originally, and as soon as Steven Sims get the ball, watch the top of the screen. Chris Miller does a great job, great closing speed. It looked like they were going to get some big yards on that play from where we were standing when it started to develop. Chris Miller, impressive speed.
So it's a gain of 6. Bender. It's caught. Sims across the 50. Biggest passing play on the day for Kansas.
Another really nice ball by Peyton Bender. And look, if they're going to play single high safety and man up your guys on the outside, you have to be able to win those matchups. And also, like we said, give your rushing game a chance and get them to soften up a little bit. And they trust Steven Sims to make those plays. And once again, from Peyton Bender, a beautiful throw over the outside shoulder of Steven Sims.
Looking for Quan Hampton. Hampton over his head.
Now that is a matchup they clearly wanted to take advantage of. Quan Hampton runs the sluggo route, which is your slant and go. Takes the angle to the slant, puts his foot in the ground and runs a go. Didn't quite get the defender the way they had hoped to. Peyton Bender tries to get him a chance and just leaves it a little too far outside. But he looked at him before the snap. It was almost as if they saw a matchup they liked. We haven't seen a ton of action from Quan Hampton today. And that was likely one of his plays, get him a sluggo over the course of the game. Just missed it.
Diamond formation once again, couple of fullbacks next to Peyton Bender. Puka Williams the carry. And he is brought down rudely by James Lynch. It's a gain of only 1. It's 3rd down. Kind of that portion of the game, that part of the field where maybe you have some other options. Maybe you think 4-down territory. Down by 19 points with 18 minutes left in the game. We'll see what happens for David Beaty and the Jayhawks.
Looks like he's going to get man-to-man here. Look over to the sideline to possibly change things up a little bit, but now it looks like Baylor shifted around. These are the chess matches you see pre-snap. If you're going to adjust your play, I'll adjust mine. And Baylor has shifted their coverage as well.
Just a 3-man rush. Bender. Incomplete, looking for Sims. I think that Bender was thinking about running, and that wasn't an option with a couple of Bear defenders in his face.
Really nice job there by Phil Snow. His defense was in what was very clearly a man-to-man before Peyton Bender looked over to the Kansas sideline to change the play, and then you see the Baylor defense adjust. They ended up in zone with a 3-man rush, and he didn't know where to go.
They're going to go for it on 4th down and 9. Do you agree with this call?
I do. I think if you're Kansas, you have to get something going here. 3 points doesn't do you a whole lot. It gets you to 10. I like the aggressiveness on the part of David Beaty to try to get this ball and change the game and get some points.
Here comes the blitz. Bender's pass is caught. Not far enough. Stephon Robinson is stoned. Graylin Arnold with the stop, and it's Baylor ball.
Really nice physical tackle by Graylin Arnold. He sets up just short of the sticks. Normally, you'd like to see that ball thrown all the way to the sticks. The running back stops a little bit short. Usually, there's a sticks adjustment on most stop routes like this. They weren't able to do it here, and a good physical tackle for a turnover on downs. Look, Eric, you asked the question, do you agree with going for it? Now you could have had 26-10, been down 16, 2 two-point conversions, technically a 2-possession game. It's easy to second guess, but you can certainly understand. Felt like they had some momentum offensively. You understand the decision by David Beaty, but obviously it backfires a little bit there.
Well, the field goal attempt was not going to be a chippy either.
That's a very good point.
It would have been a bomb of a field goal.
Now we were looking at least a 45-yarder.
Quarterback keeper Charlie Brewer with the run, pickup of 1. Charlie Brewer is from Austin, Texas. Went to a famed high school, Lake Travis High School. That's the high school that spawned Baker Mayfield. I'm sure Kansas Jayhawk fans would say, you know what? Todd Reesing went there first.
I think folks around the Big 12 know who Baker Mayfield is, right? And now folks around Cleveland and the NFL as well.
Yep. Charlie Brewer's brother, Michael Brewer, also a decorated quarterback. Here's Hasty. Again, that dead leg gets him a first down. Out across the 30 to the 33. Joe Deneen forces him out of bounds, but a gain of a dozen.
A nice run by JaMychal Hasty, and we're seeing the burst that he gives at the running back position. Obviously, we didn't get to see him in the first half. Watch this little stutter step he gives right at the end to try to avoid and create more space. But look, Joe Deneen deserves a lot of credit. I mean, he is an outstanding football player. Coming into this game, he's second in the FBS in solo tackles. Really deceptive speed, and he can chase guys down. Really physical football player with great instincts.
Brewer in the flat. This is Fleeks, and he's not going to get past Lonaker. Great open field tackler is Keith Lonaker. Gain of only 2.
Really like what co-offensive coordinators Jeff Nixon and Glenn Thomas for Baylor are doing today. Very, very unpredictable play calling, and boy, have they been balanced. It's really hard to get a feel for what they're trying to do offensively if you're the Kansas defense. They present so many different threats. Drop back passing, roll out passing, getting the quarterback out of the pocket, and also their running game has had some success so far today as well.
Brewer trying to keep the play alive, and it's not going to work. He is brought down from behind by the middle linebacker, Joe Deneen. Loss of a pair, and it's 3rd down and a bunch. That'll probably be the final play of quarter number 3. As Charlie Brewer and the Baylor Bears will talk over a 3rd and 18. That's what they face when we return to Waco, Texas. Big 12 opener for both Kansas and Baylor. So far, the Baylor Bears leading 26-7 through 3 quarters. And generally, when Matt Rhule has had a lead heading into the 4th quarter, things go his way. 28 straight wins when leading or tied entering the final stanza. That
You know what that means?
Makes no count his time in Temple.
That means they either blow everybody out or he is a really good situational football coach. I'm going to go with the latter. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
It's because the running game he believes in tenderizes the opponent.
There you go.
And takes advantage in the 4th quarter. 3rd down and a bunch. 3rd and 18. Brewer throws a dart caught by Thornton. And a flag comes down late as Thornton's tackled at the 31. Still well behind the chains.
There was no foul for offensive pass interference. The ball was caught at or behind the line of scrimmage. 4th down.
Okay. Whole bunch of nothing.
Well, there was so much that went on there. It was hard to figure out where the receiver was, so you can understand them throwing the flag thinking he was beyond the line of scrimmage. But the difference there is that the ball's thrown past the line of scrimmage. You can't have guys blocking downfield as he's throwing the ball. If the ball's caught behind the line of scrimmage, you can have guys doing that. And so that was a discussion with the officials.
Well said.
Hey, you know what? Just trying to figure out where their head's at. You know, we've had a couple things today that have come up, and I'm just trying to get on the same page as these guys.
Galitz. Oh, a booming punt. Good golly, Miss Molly. Lassiter has to call a fair catch at the 11. Just a bomb of a punt for Galitz. 58 yards, no return. And look at here. We've got a new quarterback, Carter Stanley. Carter Stanley with some starting experience in his past. Actually, last year in this game between Kansas and Baylor was the starting quarterback. We were told that Miles Kendrick, who appeared to have some discomfort in his right shoulder in the third quarter, we were told that he was not going to return to the game, but I'm surprised that Peyton Bender isn't on the field.
Yeah, a little surprising. I mean, at 26-7, you know, as far as we know, Peyton Bender's healthy on the sideline, getting Carter Stanley some snaps.
Uh-oh. Didn't see the man coming around the edge, and that'll be a sack by Ross Matisic. B.J. Thompson on that sack.
All right, Ross Madison coming off the edge. He's got a really cool story. He's a former long snapper that caused a fumble on punt coverage at one point, and they decided to give him some snaps at linebacker, and he's worked his way onto the field. That's really cool when you find a guy that finds a way onto the field that way.
Nice strike. Carter Stanley finds Kurt Johnson, but it's well short of the sticks, and the punt team will come on for Kansas. So it's going to be a 3-and-out for Stanley and the Jayhawks. They'll punt the football away with 4 minutes remaining in the game.
Been really impressed all day long by Phil Snow's defense over on the Baylor sideline. I mean, they've done an outstanding job bottling up this Kansas offense. Outside of that one long run from Puka Williams, that drive obviously gave them a lot of their stats offensively. This Baylor defense has met that challenge at the line of scrimmage and done a really, really nice job today.
Graylin Arnold, bit of a bobble, and he's tackled at the 35. Well, we will now see Jalen McClendon. He is a senior from Charlotte, North Carolina. Spent his first 3 years of eligibility playing in the ACC for Dave Doran and the NC State Wolfpack. Just throws a jump ball that Jalen Hurd goes up and gets. So a big pitch and catch, 37 yards on the throw from McClendon to Hurd.
That is exactly what I hoped we would see from Jalen McClendon, because that's how he earned his way onto the field. We know they have explosive receivers on this Baylor offense, and as they try to push the ball down the field, they have felt like Jalen McClendon's big arm is what really does that. Different from Charlie Brewer, they feel like he's got a little more arm strength down the field, and we saw that there on his first snap in Oklahoma. We talked earlier about Kyler Murray and him snatching a torch after the Baker Mayfield era. Lincoln Riley, the head coach there, has done an outstanding job implementing and putting Kyler in those situations to help him be successful. He's one of the best passers in the country. Leads the team in rushing with the absence of Rodney Anderson. That's especially important for him. He's done a really nice job. He's an outstanding athlete. Obviously started his career at A&M. He's drafted by the Oakland A's. Multi-sport athlete. Really good player.
On 2nd down and 30, Hasty is wrapped up by the middle linebacker, Joe Deneen. The mayor, he's not going to stop playing. That's a gain of just 2 for the Kansas Jayhawks after stubbing their toe here in Waco. They'll try and get back to their winning ways. Next week, they've got Oklahoma State. That game will be played in Lawrence.
Talk about a team playing good football, too. They're one of 2 teams in the country to be scoring over 50 points a game and holding their opponents to under 17 points a game. Oklahoma State is playing great football on both sides of the ball, and if you're Kansas, that will be a good challenge for your football team, to say the least.
Underneath a minute to play. McClendon. Hasty drops it. So the game clock will stop at 53 ticks remaining.
And again, to be clear, we talked about this earlier, they are clearly trying to get Jalen some quality reps. You know, they know they might be playing him still as the season goes on. They want to give him a chance to throw it around in live game reps, even this week, even though it's late in the game. I really think that's what they're doing here. Most teams obviously be handing the ball off and running the clock out. I think they just want to use these snaps to get Jalen some good reps.
Drew Galitz has had a nice afternoon. Big 12's leader in yards per punt. Lassiter the fair catch. It'll be an interesting week in Lawrence as the Kansas Jayhawks go forward. There was so much optimism after that road win, snapping a nasty road losing streak 2 weeks ago with the win in Central Michigan. Last week, a convincing home win against a Power 5 school in Rutgers. But then a discouraging performance today.
Well, if you're David Beaty too, after today you're 2-2, and you have to sit back and try to avoid that attitude that can permeate a locker room on a team that hasn't had a ton of success. As Carter Stanley has a nice little run. For a team that hasn't had a ton of success, the tendency is to fall into, though, here we go again. And you have to do everything you can to get with your seniors and avoid that mindset, because this Kansas team has done a lot of really good things early in the year. Tough day for them today across the board. They've got to find a way to replicate some of that earlier success and bring that out of each one of these guys and avoid that negative mindset.
That's a no. Yeah, it's a nice catch. Real nice catch along the boundary. Evan Fairs. Fairs was in fair territory.
Well done. That was nice. That's good.
College guys, yeah, they show off nowadays. Someone gets 2 feet in. You only need one, but the college guys show they can do it at the NFL level with 2. Stanley wants a bunch, and he underthrows his man. 15 seconds remaining. Well, Baylor's about to do something they haven't done in a long time. Win here at home in a Big 12 game. Well, Baylor Bears didn't do it last year. Remember, the only win came in Kansas against.
That was one of the intriguing things about this game, too, is we knew the winner was going to be 3-1. And both these programs, I think if you told them at the beginning of the season, after 4 games, you'll be 3-1. The one that is, I think, would have been really pleased if you told him that. These are the stats plays, Eric. These are the plays where everybody, all the guys know the game is not in question, and guys are just trying to do that they can to compile some stats, maybe sneak in a cheap touchdown at the end.
Every player thinks a cheap touchdown. No, come on.
You're probably wondering what I know about garbage time, Eric. I don't have that answer for you. I just know that, hey, why not try to get some of those garbage points right now?
All right, we'll probably see the final play of the game, more than likely, if Kansas can get lined up in time. Go to the end zone. No, a spike. So with 2 seconds remaining in the game.
The offense sub, we did not give the defense an opportunity to match up.
All right, so the offense changed personnel groups, and by rule, they have to allow the defense to match. If you sub, the defense has to be given time to sub. Every rep is precious here.
Final play of the game. And Stanley's going to run. And he's out of bounds inside the 20, and that will do it for the 2018 version of Kansas and Baylor. The Baylor Bears victorious. They are now 3-1 on the season. For my partner Evan Moore and our entire FS1 crew, I'm Eric Collins saying so long. Let's go back to Los Angeles for more post-game coverage after this break.